and welcome one and all to another round of the Grand Prix season of end all seasons. Welcome one and all to another
I've done it again.
So JD, I asked JD Kane, right? I asked JD Kane for some advice on how to set up Hangouts, and I thought he'd come through as a blinder, but there you go. Anyway, thanks, JD. I'll get in contact with you later to find out what I did wrong there. But anyway, yeah, Grand Prix season to end all seasons this season. Obviously, the cars can't get close to each other, but nonetheless, I'd just like to say, used to be a bit of noise, but never mind. Yeah, no, I'd just like to say it was a fantastic Grand Prix. I've got to say, there was team tactics, there was excitement, there was drama, there was people happy, there was people sad.
Yeah.
And I think we know which one of those it's going to be, don't we? So, I fantastic race. Drove shots off, drove perfectly. And, you know, I've been bleating on about tyres all this year. And you know what? I am not going to say a thing about tyres in this hangout. I just think Lewis drove a brilliant race. So well done, Lewis, for winning Monza. Over to you, Fabio.
You forgot disappointment.
Sadness.
Well, I mean, I wasn't sad. I mean, it's a race. Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not sticking my life on it. It was disappointing. The mistake that Vettel made was, Jesus Christ, was really bad. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we all know how the race went. Mercedes won. Well, Hamilton won. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Well, Mercedes won and put Hamilton in first place. They just they had the Butler coming third, and Kimi got second. Vettel crashed at the Roja corner because of a very stupid mistake he made. I don't know what the fuck possessed him, to do that kind of shit, but anyway. And then it was a 2v1 race, and Mercedes implemented a very well. They did nothing wrong. I just have to say, and believe me if I say, I would have said it, regardless of who did that. The what they did was, in my opinion, was really bad from a sportsman kind of view. They did nothing wrong from a legal point of view. The rules were fulfilled. There is no problems about that. But I mean, I don't know. That was.
But this seems like a huge but coming from a Ferrari.
No. It's not. Why did you say that?
Well, I mean, I'm only remembering history and thinking of a chap called Barrichello, and
right,
and a chap called Massa.
No, you're right. I mean, everybody does team play. You're right.
Yeah.
Having said that,
even when it was illegal.
Well, listen, because I said you're right. Now it's your turn to answer two questions from me.
Okay.
First one: when is? Have you ever heard a team saying to the guy, "Slow down the guy behind you so that the other guy can catch up"? And the second one, I hope you're not telling me that Michael Schumacher won because Rubens was slowing people down. Because those are the 2 points I'm making, and those are the only 2 points I'm making.
Okay, I mean those fair points to make. Number one. Number two, people slowing down to allow teammates to win the race. Well, I would go back to Benetton. Livio Briatore getting one of his drivers to crash in order that Alonso could win a race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and
it does happen. It doesn't happen in Formula One.
No, again, I'm telling you, I said it at the beginning. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. They did nothing. They did nothing wrong. I mean, team orders are team orders. Even this year, the FIA just said, realized that the rule of not giving team orders was a stupid one. So again, there is no problem in that. I'm just hugely disappointed that a team like Mercedes had to tell a driver, because, well, I mean, right now, to be fair, I'm quite embarrassed by calling Bottas a driver, because I mean, again, it was embarrassing for Mercedes and Bottas and for Lewis too, because I mean, Lewis did the race which he had to do. By the way, at the start of the race, he did what he had to do, which was the only way for him, you know, to put some pressure. That was to split the two Ferraris, just to get in the middle of the two Ferraris. So he did what he had to do. He did it in a very good way. Vettel made a mistake, and they have to do, you know, to go that way. I mean, I'm disappointed for them. You know, I'm not complaining about the victory. They won fair and square. But
well, okay. Firstly, I'm not sure that Bottas did slow down considerably, and I don't see any reason to extending a stint on a particular set of tires and slowing down to do that.
No, there is a there is a.
When you say slowing down, it's not like it was blocking at every corner.
There is a team radio. I'm not making shit up.
No, absolutely. I completely agree that it was, let's leave Valtteri out there, right, on a slower pace than he would normally want to be on if he came into the pits and changed his tyres. But that doesn't mean Valtteri was going as slow as he could to try and back him into somebody. Or
well, no. Listen, you know, the reason I'm saying that is because there are two team radios. There is a team radio from the Mercedes pit telling Bottas to wait for Kimi and slowing down, and then there is another one from Lewis that I can't remember the lap, but it was on the opposite straight from the main straight. I think it was lap. I don't know. I can't remember. I'll find it if I want, but you know, I can't. Where Lewis says big gap. And the pit tell Lewis, don't worry, Valtteri is on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, and that's not wrong. Let me tell it, you know, again, it is not wrong. But
yep. Okay. So can you give me? Do you know the lap times? How far off Valtteri's pace? Because I didn't see a big difference in pace. Even if he'd said slow him up, right? That just means we're leaving you out there. Right, because you're already slower than him because he's on fresh tires. So I'm not sure slow him up means stamp on the brakes in the corners to try and make him crash, or even reduce your pace to such a degree that you're inhibiting his race, other than he can't overtake.
No,
other than he can't overtake. Right?
No, it just means keep him behind.
Yeah, Yeah, which is a tactical thing, and I don't know.
It is. No, I know, but Simos, I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm not saying that. Again, I just think that it's ridiculous, you know, that a team like Mercedes just sacrifices a guy like Bottas, because, you know, Bottas, remember, if it wasn't because of the fuck up with Verstappen, Bottas could have come fourth, and he was third at the time. So they were more than willing to just burn Bottas, you know, in order to have Lewis to win.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that, you know, I'm not saying anything else.
Absolutely right. I don't see any issue with that. It's what Ferrari have done my entire life. Ferrari have always been a one-driver team.
No, listen, no, Simon. You know,
hang on. Let me qualify it with very few exceptions. That I can remember definitely where they put Pironi and Villeneuve in a team together, and they were drivers.
No, listen, you know, we have to be extremely clear, because there is a lot of people, you know, there is a lot of, you know, couch race drivers and, you know, couch team managers. Yeah. I'm not saying they did something wrong legally. Right. I'm just saying that as far as the sport goes, yes, it was, you know, it was embarrassing for them. Right. It was embarrassing, especially for Bottas, that he didn't even, you know, bash an eyelid.
I agree with you. But that's what being a number two driver is about. I mean,
yeah, but okay, you know. But let me tell you something.
Point matter, right? And go let him pass, and then Ferrari told him to let him pass in a way which didn't look so bad, and then he didn't do that. He left it to the very last corner to pull over in a way which made it obvious that he was pulling over.
Right.
right? Because team orders were illegal at the time. It was against sporting regulations, not just was it anti-sporting, right?
And it was,
it was illegal. Now
it was a stupid rule. I agree with you. It was.
Now it's legal, and I agree with you. It's still anti-sporting in the way of the old drivers, but that was never the way in Formula One anyway. So yeah, okay.
No, but you know the reason I'm saying that, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm not. I'm just really sad for the sport. I'm sad for the way it behaved, it developed. I'm sad, you know, because there is a guy which is driving an F1 car, which, in my opinion, doesn't deserve to drive an F1 car. I mean, if you're any driver, okay, any driver wants to drive as fast as they can. That guy is more than happy to be castrated the way he does. I mean, it's his life, whatever floats his boat. I hope he get a shitload of money, more power to him. But there is a lot of people fast out there, and you have this guy. So I'm just saying that. And again, I'm not saying it is wrong. There is also the fact that after the race, they interviewed Toto Wolff. And Toto Wolff never mentioned that. Say, no, that was a tactic because we have to do that in order to make Bottas come third, which was the best, you know, thing you could do. And Jacques Villeneuve told him, you know, listen, you know, no, it actually wasn't Jacques Villeneuve. It was another commentator. He said, you know, listen, Toto, you know, I've been knowing you for a lot of time. But we've heard, you know, those team radios. We're not saying it was wrong. We're just asking for a comment. And he just plain denied it. Denied it in such a way that Jacques Villeneuve was supposed, you know, to ask him a question. And he said, I'm not asking questions to this guy because, you know, now it's getting ridiculous. And that's it. That's what I'm just saying. It was ridiculous. They won a very nice race, but fuck, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I think we can agree then. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea because I would have expected it to happen on both sides. It used to happen a lot.
No, yeah. But again, listen, we've been knowing for a lot of time. And
go back to the 80s. And like Martin Brundle was told to take someone out because he was an opponent in the opponent's team, you know. So, yeah, I mean, things have moved on, I guess.
Yeah, but, I mean, you know, again, it's just me, and again, I'm saying it's wrong, but I can't remember.
I just see it as part of Formula One. I just see it as part of Formula One, and I don't see it as any big deal. It really pisses me off, right? Because, you know, I support teams which generally don't have a 1-2 driver situation, right? But this is, you know, like McLaren and Williams, right? So those are the two teams, obviously, that I usually support, and McLaren have always said they never put number 1 drivers, and they pay quite a heavy price for that. They used to have in the past, and Williams. So I agree with what you're saying that it's not sporting, but then I don't think Formula One. I don't think of it as a sport in the same way.
No, it's business. I agree with you. You know, but the moment it becomes that kind of business, you know, I don't like it because I don't. I like, you know, cars going fast and people driving to you know, to as much as they can. And if they get to a point where they have to, you know, to facilitate, you know, the other teammate, more power to it. But if you have to facilitate your teammate by slowing another guy down and basically crushing his tires. Okay, yeah. I mean, you know, back in the day, that's what Prost would do. You know, that's exactly what Prost would do. Prost would never. I mean, if you ask Prost to slow down to damage another guy because someone else had to win the race, Prost would have never done that. And nobody. I mean, as far as I remember, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Prost was the number 2 driver. I'm just saying he would himself, right, slow down, right, in order to get a longer stint on a set of tires than his opponent behind him, knowing. But that was a car advantage, and that he could do that. No. Okay, if you're going there, we go there. Bottas didn't make a longer stint because he was going to have an advantage. And the fact is that when he came back, he was 4th when he was supposed to be 3rd. So that's not the reason he did that. The reason he did that was just by putting Kimi in his wake.
Yeah.
Dave knew that he would have trashed the tires, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah. I kind of disagree. I think that if you're looking at Lewis as having a good tactic, right, of staying out longer on his tires in order to overcut Kimi and make Kimi drive hard on his new tires, right, for the undercut, okay, then even if you are behind, okay, you're going to have a tire advantage the longer you stay out. Now, that means, hang on a minute, if that means driving slowly for a few laps, okay, then that might be worth the price, right?
A few laps
on the car ahead of you, because you're going to have a tire advantage. For every lap that goes by, you're going to have a tire advantage. If you can keep within, you know, like a third of a second lap times, right? And that seems a good strategy. They probably were trying to do the same thing on Verstappen as well.
So, but are you talking about Lewis or are you talking about Bottas?
Well, and Bottas as well. It makes sense for Bottas to try the same strategy.
No, okay, listen, you know, the thing with Bottas was that tactic, and again, it was perfectly legal, was only done to trash Kimi's tires. And I mean, I can explain to you from an engineering point of view if you want. You know, that was actually
You don't have to explain. I mean,
no.
Kimi did exactly the same thing to Lewis not 5 or 6 races ago, right? Where he stayed out incredibly long, complaining on the radio that he wanted to come into the pits, and he stayed out another 3 laps, right, in order to hinder Lewis that was coming up behind. It's a tactic. Everybody does it. It's Formula One. I don't see why you're getting hostile against Bottas, particularly. It's a team. Did it. Bottas would have had to do it, otherwise he wouldn't have got paid. It's not about Bottas being a bad driver. Just the same way, it was never about Massa or Barrichello being bad drivers against Michael.
It is
always written into the contract that they were number 2.
Listen, I'm not saying that. I don't know. I can make it more.
That's my 60 cents.
No, but I mean, I don't know how can you make it more clear. First of all, they did nothing wrong, but there is a limit between asking a guy to stay out 5 more laps or 3 more laps to try to gain an advantage for that guy, and asking to another driver, you know what, fuck you and your position, you're actually going to lose a position, do whatever the fuck you want to keep the guy in the way, so it destroys the car, the tires, the other teammate comes ahead, and you will end up losing a position. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I get that. And it might be worth it for the team to do that just based on the points, right?
Well, the team was totally worth it. And, I understand what they did. I'm just saying that's a very...
So what? Okay. So what railed me then was you going on about Bottas, right, being a rubbish driver because of this. That's nothing to do with his driving.
I don't know if it's a rubbish driver or not. That's the problem. Nobody fucking knows because he's just there.
That might be true. But either way, we don't have any reason just because he's played the number 2 to say that he is a bad driver on that basis, right?
Well, he's an appalling driver. He's not a driver.
Again.
No, he's appalling. I mean, it's not what I'm saying is that, I mean, if you tell me, I don't know if Bottas may be a good driver, okay? It's not a racing driver. That's what I'm saying. No racing driver would have done that. No fucking way.
Yeah, they would. Massa, Barrichello, Irvine. I can list you all of the Ferrari double.
No, you cannot. No. Listen.
All of them would have done it in a half.
No. You're confusing 2 things, and you're confusing that on purpose.
Okay, explain to me. I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise you.
No, so yeah, no, I said on purpose. That was wrong for me. Sorry about that. There is a difference between acting as a second driver and behaving like what Bottas did. The second driver is the one, which eventually will sacrifice himself and let the other guy go ahead. Asking, again, it might be me, but I can't remember of a single instance where a driver has been asked to slow down the guy behind you and then eventually lose a position, and the guy did. Everybody will go as fast as they can, or at the pace they're supposed to go. That's what I'm just saying. It might be me.
And I kind of gave you the example of Benetton to show you that obviously Formula One is not.
And it was wrong. It was totally wrong.
Yeah, completely. And as far as
well, the situation was a little bit different, if you remember. That was the last race, and the guy was was under contract. That was a little bit different.
Yeah, it wasn't the last race. I think it was Singapore, and it was just to. I think Alonso was in the running that year, so that's why.
Yeah, but again, it was a shitty situation too. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. It was really shitty. Well, it was as shitty as what happens, last Sunday in Monza. Last Sunday in Monza was more legal, if you want.
Oh yeah,
but still, it was still a shitty situation. I'm not complaining about. But I just want to to go back to talk about something. It was interesting what happens to the tires. Because I think it's there is an interesting point of view which has to be, in my opinion, talked about. And it goes down to something we talked about last time about how Mercedes have developed something for the tires. Their new procedures. We talked about the fact that they get the covers, the heated covers from the rear tire before. Because they've had that problem with the tires. You remember that the slimmer tires and all that stuff. And I think that Mercedes they changed the setup too because of that.
Yeah,
but what happened was really interesting from a pure F1 point of view. The thing is that the Mercedes has more aerodynamic weight. Okay, it is less efficient than Ferrari, and it has more drag. And the funny thing is that when you've got problems with the tires, it's a paradox. But if you have a less efficient car, it is easier on the tire if you get to the limit.
The more downforce, the less slip, and the less slip, the less wear.
Yeah, and you know what the paradox is? That if in Monza they had the thinner tires, what happened to Ferrari would have never have happened.
It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. That's the thing which I thought about and said, fuck it, that is really, I mean, it's kind of it's a paradox, but it's true, it's
yeah. I mean, afterwards Lewis was saying it was Kimi's fault that he lost the race because he was taking too much out of his tires too soon, and he was driving through Parabolica and the Lesmos, too fast.
Well, the problem is that Kimi was again, and we've got to keep in mind the optimum distance in Monza to follow a car is not if you follow a car just on the tail. If you are like 3 to 4 seconds behind the car, that's the best one because you get the advantage on the straight, but you don't feel it on the corners. Kimi was too close because Bottas was keeping me close, and that's why he crashed the tires because on the fast corners Kimi was sliding with the car.
Yeah.
That was destroyed. That was what destroyed these tires.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, so what else? Verstappen, was funny.
I mean. Yeah, it's going round again, isn't it? I mean, it's like we had this a couple of years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
With Grosjean first, and then Verstappen getting involved. And last year we had Perez and Ocon,
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly think that Max is too aggressive.
Yeah, he is too aggressive. I mean, he made something really dangerous. But I mean, at least the guy didn't give a. I mean, he showed that he giving a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. Said, I don't care if I'm gonna lose it, but I'm going. I mean, I'm finishing ahead of that guy.
I don't think that's going to stop people going alongside him.
Yeah, right.
I think it's too much, and he's probably going to throw away races in the lot. But anyway. I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would like to see the lap times. To be honest with you, I'd like to see Bottas's lap times and see how much they dropped off. Whether they were so significant that I would say that you have a really good point.
I think they were. I'll try to find them on. I don't know if the F1 site has got those. The MotoGP one, they give you all the data after the race. They're publicly. I don't know if they do with the F1. I'll try to find them, and I'll post it to you.
Yeah, I mean, my sense watching the race is Kimi wasn't all over the back of Bottas. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he slowed down so significantly that it was obvious at all. But you may be right. I don't know that. And if I would consider it unsporting, like yourself, although not illegal. So let's just end on that agreement there.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm more than fine with that. I didn't want to, to make anything else. The biggest problem was that Sebastian made a mistake. That's a big issue.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's, to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, Sebastian does this. This is his point. He gets desperate in and around, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't ask. Well, okay, I can understand why people would call it desperate. I don't. I mean, I would be. I wouldn't be that that harsh on the guy. I mean, in this season, the main problem is that if you examine the two guys, Sebastian this year, he made more magic stuff than Lewis, but he also made a lot more mistakes. And Lewis was, a little bit less brilliant, in what happened in the race, but he did not make any mistakes, and that's something we said. We also said, I think, 2 or 3 races ago. What was really amazing this year is not, Ferrari. I think it's I don't know if it's a better car. It's not a worse car for sure, but the very amazing thing is that Lewis really gets the maximum from what has been dealt with, which is is eventually what is going to make him win the championship, if it goes like that. So
yeah, I mean, he has the same issue that he cracks under that pressure, and when it's handed to him, he thinks he's got it, then he's liable to crack. Sebastian's the other way. When it's close, that's when he's liable to crack. When he thinks he's got it, then he's solid, right? I mean, do you remember? It was a brilliant race, Brazil, maybe 4 years ago, where he needed to come 3rd or 5th or something, and to win the championship, and he spun on the first lap.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a comeback!
No, but I mean, I agree with you.
It's like, I've got nothing to do. Let's just go. And boy, did he go! So,
but I agree with you on that. Sebastian has got to find himself, a little bit more in the zone. And if we go with that train of thought, which, I mean, I more than partially agree with you. Again, I wouldn't be so harsh, but, you're definitely on the right track there. But if we follow that train of thought, we might also say that the problems for Sebastian started on the Saturday when Kimi made the pole instead of him. That was, in terms of pressure for Sebastian.
Well, I mean, he complained about it, didn't he?
There was a team radio. He told the engineer we'll talk about it later. Which
He's one going.
Yeah,
really?
I mean, it wasn't happy. I mean, I can.
Kimi going, yeah, thank you. Like, I didn't get it. Yeah, I got it because you put us out at the right time. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, talking about Kimi, this is recent news. The old thing that we said, we probably wrote about it. We never talked about it. But the old thing about Leclerc going to us and Kimi staying in Ferrari and Giovinazzi going to Sauber, it's not that clear anymore.
Sebastian's been complaining already.
No. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Sebastian. It has not. No. It has nothing to do with Sebastian. The decision to take Leclerc took something like 4 or 5 months ago, and he was took by Marchionne. Then he died. And so they're thinking about following on that idea. But, you know, that was a decision, that was something which has been already decided at least 4 or 5 months ago.
I see.
They're just, you know, going with that thing. And probably they will go that way.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, again, the reason I always thought that wouldn't happen was just generally Ferrari don't take new drivers like that. Not that young, untested drivers.
Not in recent years. You're right. Not in recent years. But it is not uncommon for Ferrari to do that. You know, historically.
Well, even going back a way, it's there are very few, and even then, they particularly impress the old man, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, the old man was there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he was the guy. The old man was the guy which, you know, decided to hire an obscure Canadian guy, you know, which nobody knew 2 fucks about it.
Indeed, yeah.
So yeah,
and louder as well. But okay. So it was an interesting race. For the championship, of course, it just leaves it hanging even further. So that's quite exciting. I still feel Ferrari have got the advantage. That when the cars get the downforce pile back on again, I think we're going to find Mercedes in a similar spot, wearing their tyres out again. So we shall see.
Yeah, no, but I agree with you. I think the Ferrari right now, again, you know, I think it's an overall more efficient car. Yeah. So yeah, they have the advantage on that side. Now, yeah, the problems right now are somewhere else. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, 30 points are a lot of points for 7 races. So yeah.
Yeah. If there's no you know, breakdowns or whatever, so there's still that. And this is Formula One, and you know, It's Formula One spelt backwards.
Yes.
So it's Woods, and maybe we'll have another race. I'm looking forward to Singapore, and say thank you very much and ciao, everybody.
Oh no! One thing before we leave, there is Wild Dart on the side chat. He's asking if there is something like a complete idiot buffoon on the F1 world. Someone like G-Man. You know, I don't know how many people know who G-Man is.
The F1 world. I don't know.
Who would it be?
That'll probably be me.
Well, no, okay. I mean, we had Eccleston, but now he's technically not there anymore.
I see. Ecclestone knew more than most, but
yeah.
I don't.
Who might it be?
There is some guy that hangs around the paddock, apparently, but I don't know what his name is.
I don't know. I mean, a complete. Well,
I mean, it's Lewis, if anybody, right? I mean, that's the closest to G-Man.
Well, but it's not an idiot buffoon, you know.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to be an idiot buffoon in Formula One. Otherwise,
but no, he's talking about the F1 world. So you can expand a little bit, I think.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. I don't know. Well,
already Irvine, he was a bit of a player.
Well, Eddie Irvine, actually, I really love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see his show and tell interview?
No.
Oh, okay. Right. I'll get a copy of it for you. You did on Schumacher a bit.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about Irvine was that when he was racing, nobody knew that he actually had a family. And, you know, everybody found out just when he retired. So, I mean, okay, David Coulter comes to mind to be like an idiot. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard him. You know,
you just don't get idiots in Formula One, so it's not a great thing to be saying. Maybe people that are a little more daredevil do.
Yeah,
like Jack Villeneuve. Okay, so Jack Villeneuve at Spa was determined to go flat out through Eau Rouge already, or Radion actually. And he tried 3 times in the weekend. Twice he crashed. It's a £5 million car. He crashed 2 of them to try and make it happen.
Well, I mean, that's fucking commitment. You know, that's something that Bottas, for example, would never do that. You know?
We are talking about a Villeneuve, right? So it's a male.
Okay. Anyway.
Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. We look forward to Singapore. And ciao.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao. Thank